Greetings loyal subscribers and honoured guests. Welcome back to episode 17 of Covertape Chaos Zzapped. After the rather average tape that contained 4 full games last time, we see the welcome return of some demos for brand new releases this time around. Back to the Future Part 3 takes the headline spot on the cover and also provides the inspiration for Oliver Frey's cover art, depicting the final scene of the movie with Doc hanging from the side of the train. There are some other big hitters featured this month as well, in the form of the awesome Sales Curve shooter Swiv, the first in the much loved Lotus Esprit series from Gremlin, and epic RPG The Magic Candle from Minecraft. So let's get started checking out this issue's tape. Back to the Future Part 3 also takes pride of place on side A of the cover tape with a playable slice of the first level. This is the scene in the film where Doc Brown is desperately trying to catch up with Clara's vehicle before it plunges into the ravine. It's very nicely drawn and animated, and I think it depicts the movie quite well indeed. It's also remarkably similar to Wrath of the Demon from a few issues ago. The trouble is though that this demo is just way too brief. You've barely been given control of Doc and got used to the controls before it's all over and it loops around again. If this was just a minute or two longer it would have been much better. As it is, it's just too quick to be enjoyable. You can keep playing the demo over and over without having to reload, which is a small mercy, and what I had to do to ensure that I had enough footage for this video, but it loses its appeal quite quickly. I'm not saying they should have included the entirety of level 1, but a bit more that included the switch to the overhead perspective would have been nice. It's a bit of a shame really, as by all accounts Part 3 is a much better game than Parts 1 or 2 were. It does follow the well-established formula for movie license games that was set in place by Ocean Software, where each level is a separate load and a different minigame, but Probe have come up with some reasonably enjoyable stages here. The game can get quite difficult and frustrating, which does hold it back from getting a truly great score from most people who play it, but it's a solid effort all round. The Zzapped team praised the variety of game styles on offer, with Robin highlighting the shooting gallery stage in particular. The isometric pie throwing stage was perhaps the weakest of the 4 due to the perspective making it hard to aim. They ended up settling on a respectable score of 81% in the end, and summed things up with a classy tie-in with lots of humour and variety. Unfortunately though, the first full game offered up to us this time is a bit of a turd. The first time I loaded up Wizard Wars I went in blind like I normally do, just to see how intuitive it is to get in and play, but I just couldn't figure out how to start the game. After studying the tape pages from the magazine I was finally able to make sense of it. It turns out you need to use the keyboard to add 4 different magic spells to your spellbook before you can begin level 1. With that out of the way I was able to make a bit of progress. You wander the world rather aimlessly within your tiny little window, looking for towns and monsters. Each town will give you some food and each monster slain will give you an artifact. Return the correct artifact to each town to complete the level. I got very close to finishing stage 1 before the last monster managed to kill me, so I haven't seen any of the other stages unfortunately. This first level took me the best part of 30 minutes to get through and it was incredibly boring, so I don't especially relish the thought of going back for more. Both Gordon and Paul thought the game could be of interest to fans of fantasy games or RPGs, but the execution is just too poor to make the game worth playing in the long run. The publisher, Go, wanted a tenner for this on its original release, which was way too much. At least here on the cover tape, which is technically free, you can muck about with the game as much as you want without wasting your hard-earned pocket money on it. I doubt you would load it up very often though after the initial try. I wonder if anyone watching this video actually played this one and got some enjoyment out of it. Let me know. In the end, Zzapped awarded Wizard Wars with an extremely poor score of 30% and concluded with a very poor interpretation of an excellent concept. Over on side B, our other demo this issue was a rolling one, but it's done with charm, nice graphics and a catchy tune. After Maxwell Mouse saw great success with his game from Thalamus called Summer Camp, released the previous year, the same designers are now getting ready to release the follow-up, Winter Camp. Back at the time I was quite in awe of Thalamus because they had published one of my favourite C64 games of all time, namely Creatures, so I really wanted to play Summer Camp and Winter Camp, but I never got around to buying either of them for whatever reason. I still haven't played them to this day, so I'm going to have to rectify that soon. I do know that in a few issues time we do get a full playable demo of Winter Camp, so I'm looking forward to trying it. What's on display here looks excellent. I'm going to save my usual look at the Zzapped review for then, as I don't want to end up repeating myself. We round things off this issue with the full version of puzzle game Bombozle. The idea here is to use controlled blasts to destroy every single bomb on a stage without either blowing yourself up, walking off the edge, or destroying the platform you're standing on. That's easier said than done though. You are offered two different perspectives in which to play the game. Either a 2D top-down perspective, which for me was ideal for actually making progress through the levels, or an isometric 3D perspective in which I struggled because it was hard for my brain to track which of the cardinal directions move you diagonally on the screen. This is actually a pretty enjoyable and clever puzzle game, but as usual I lack the skill or patience to advance very far into it. For those looking for a brain teaser, I highly recommend it though. Zzapped were absolutely raving about how much they loved Bombozle. Math even said, "I'd say Bombozle is the best puzzle game since Tetris." High praise indeed, but it doesn't appear to be warranted. Bombozle is a very different beast to Tetris though. They're different genres within puzzle games really. Bombozle is quite high stress, at least for me, whereas Tetris can be very relaxing. They finished the review by giving a score of 97% and saying, "The cutest puzzle game on the 64 and it's highly addictive too." I need to try and get my aged brain to remember what the different tile types are and what they do. Then I should be able to do better at Bombozle. At least there is a password system to get back to the level you died on. That brings us to the end of another one then. There's probably enough gameplay within Bombozle to keep most people playing for quite some time, so it doesn't matter so much that the other full game is a load of rubbish, unless you really don't get on with puzzle games. Not the best tape ever though. I hope the next one has something a bit more action-packed and satisfying for me to sink my teeth into. We'll find out in episode 18, coming in 2 weeks from now. In the meantime, take care.